Are you wondering how to deal with your toxic parents? Well, in this video, we're going to be talking about toxic parents and what adult children might be learning in therapy. Hi, I'm Marie Morin. I'm a therapist and a wellness coach. Let's get started. So toxic behaviors are consistent. It's not just a one-time thing of someone exploding or being controlling. Abusive behaviors can include toxic behaviors. Abuse is meant to exert control over the abused. So when an adult child goes to a therapist, usually they take a note of what's happened in their upbringing, what's gone on in their adolescence, what has happened in their childhood. This informs the therapist and also informs the adult child as they talk about it of what were the things that went on that impacted them in the condition and state that they're in at the time of therapy. Now, this whole process brings a lot of insight. What really happened? How does that fit with where I am today? And how did that influence the way that I deal with life and the way that I deal with problems? When there has been toxic behaviors in someone's past, it naturally gives them this feeling of being unsafe around the person who has been toxic. And so estrangement occurs as a result. So there's no one size fits all for every therapeutic relationship. Not every therapist is going to do things the same way. They all have their own styles. The following 10 items we're going to be discussing are it's not an all-inclusive list. So what can an adult child learn from therapy? Number one, the toxic behaviors have been so uncomfortable and distressing for the adult child that in order to preserve themselves, they need to cut off. Number two, change your expectations. So naturally, we have expectations of other people. Parents should be a certain way. Adult children should be a certain way. They should be reciprocating respect going on. So part of what they might learn in therapy is to change the expectation of someone who has been consistently toxic, wanting them to be something else, maybe a far cry from reality. Number three, create a boundary. So for example, suppose there's a lot of anxiety, which there usually is, about contact. And conversations have typically gone badly. So the adult child might say, hey, no more phone calls. We're going to just not have phone calls, no contact. Or allow emails, but not actually speaking. The fourth thing they might learn is to be persistent with their limits. This is to be persistent with their boundary. Meaning that if they said to you, no contact to the parent, then they're going to keep with their boundary of no contact, no phone call. This is them being persistent. Number five, adult children might be encouraged to focus on themselves and figure out what they want from the relationship. Number six, therapy for adult children who have been involved in a toxic parental relationship can accept that they are not the cause of their parents' issues. Parents have their own thing going on. It's not always about the adult child. While the adult child may be the recipient of toxic behaviors, their parents can have a whole slew of stuff that's going on outside of the parent-child relationship. Number seven, an adult child might learn to differentiate themselves from their parent and improve their sense of self as an individual separate from their parent. Number eight, know your triggers and know how to manage them. So adult children knowing that they get triggered by certain things from their parents. Well, it's not uncommon to also be triggered by other people who may act like your parents did. So learning what happens to you when you get triggered. What kind of physical sensations do you get? Can you take a moment to calm down? Learning skills to cope so that you're not triggered and then reacting, but rather experiencing the trigger and then being able to respond will help you not only with your relationship with your parent, should you resume, but also with other people that may do things similar to your parents. Number 9, adult children can learn to say no and the power of no by learning coping skills in order to set boundaries and learning how to find calm so that your emotional stress is balanced. Let's face it, estrangement is a stressful condition. There's so much going on, especially if there are toxic behaviors in the relationship with the adult child and the parent. This has been going on for a while. Remember, toxic behaviors are consistent. So the adult child will have to learn these skills and how to say no, how to stay firm. That's boundaries, and learning how to get calm so that they can manage their distress and ultimately feel less triggered by even the thought of resuming a relationship. Number 10, an adult child might learn that it's okay for them to have no contact for as long as it takes for them to feel better, and also until they see significant change on the part of the toxic parent. Toxic parenting for the adult child has been a grueling experience. No doubt it's caused harm and stress and scars. I talk about what to do when you're estranged. Please get my ebook, Feeling Heartbroken and Alone, How to Pick Up the Pieces When You Are Estranged. And also leave me a comment below. Toxic behaviors are controlling, manipulative. There's a lack of respect. There could be this sense of such high expectations for the adult child that they never feel like their parent is ever satisfied. There could be these promises that were made and not kept. There could be this selfishness that's going on and the lack of taking responsibility. It could be referred to as gaslighting when an adult child says something to a parent and the parent just brushes over it and now makes it all about the adult child, not really knowing what they're talking about. And this definitely didn't happen, which is extremely invalidating and complicates the experience for the adult child so much worse, because validating, empathizing, and having compassion for the adult child is really what they need. So what about if you're not a toxic parent? What about if your parents were not toxic and you still are cut off? Well, you're going to want to watch my next video where we're going to talk about some key reasons according to research. Please hit the like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you can get more of this content. We'll see you in the next video.